Hello, I'm Christian Williams, co-manager of Acre Aquaponics here in Kerma, West Virginia, and today I'm going to show you how our aquaponics operation works and how it all got started. First of all, aquaponics it's an ancient system, but it's been relatively new in terms of commercial standards. It's a system whereby you grow fish and plants together through water. Starting here with the nursery, you get tilapia fish in our case, as you can see here in the glass. You start them off in the nursery here, and you put them in, and you feed them Purina Aquamax in our case, some kind of FDA-approved fish food, and they'll eat it up, and they'll produce waste in the form of ammonia, and the waste will transport down the drain into a clarifier, then into a mineralization tank, into a bioreactor, whereby nitrifying bacteria is generated, and that'll convert the ammonia over to nitrate, which is the nutrient, and then it'll flow out to a de-gassing tank where it will mix and flow over to plants, and they float on rafts, and they grow down into the water, and they will absorb the nitrate out and grow off of it. And the pump will suck the water out from the plant section back to the fish, and the process will recycle itself all over again. So after being in the nursery tank for 11 weeks, the tilapia in the nursery are transported out, tank by tank, into what's called the main system, which is larger for them to grow out. Now you can see here the fish, these are our oldest ones. They are much, much larger from the baby ones you just saw. And the same system applies here. You feed them a much larger amount of fish food that you weigh on a scale every week to determine the amount that you need. You feed them, they produce ammonia, flows out through the clarifier mineralization tank into a bioreactor, converts over, flows out to the plants. Plants absorb the nutrients out, water flows back to the fish tanks to do it all over again, just on a larger system scale. Alright, here's how we'll feed the fish. This is the part where most people generally enjoy, and when we give tours, especially for kids, they love doing this part. As you can see, the tilapia are very aggressive feeders. This here sets our system apart from most others. This is called a purge system. It has a dual purpose. One is the purging portion of the process, whereby at the end of the fish life cycle, we'll take them out of the tank and put them in here, and we won't feed them for a week. And we will add unodified sea salt into the water and raise it over time to concentration. And that will put the fish into a coma-like state. And the reason you want that is, not only does the salt help purify their skin and give them a fresher taste, but it also, what puts them in a coma-like state, it will relax them. And so when you get them out to put them on ice to get ready to fillet them, they won't set off a trigger in their immune system to release toxin. And it'll give them a bad taste. So that's one reason why we do that here at our facility. Another portion of the aquaponics system that we have here is called the ZDEC, which is Zero Discharge Extra Production. It's a patented system from Nelson and Page, which we bought this system and assembled it from. And it creates extra production from a normal aquaponics facility, whereby whenever you drain a clarifier, as you have to do randomly, because the waste will build up in it, instead of draining it down to the sewer where we'll just go to waste, here you open up the valve and suck it to a pump into this bead filter, and it will cycle the water through. And it will separate the nutrient-rich sludge from the regular water. And once it's finished on that cycle, the regular water can flow back into the system to fill it back up. That way you don't lose water. And the nutrient-rich sludge will be pushed down into what are called media beds, and that'll give you an extra ability to grow more food. Here is the plant section of the facility. These are called raft beds. The water from the fish tanks with nitrate in it will flow out through here into these two beds, flow over to these two, and back to the fish tanks to get more recycled. This here is predominantly used for lettuce, as it is the best crop to use on a raft system. And they simply just float on styrofoam rafts, and I'll pull one of them out to show you. And the roots go down into the water. And they absorb the nitrate out, and the plant will grow off of it. And these particular type of lettuce called Rex Butterhead lettuce is our best seller. It takes about 40 days from seed to harvest. We also have Skyphos Butterhead, Teodor Butterhead, and on the far end we have Salanova, which is the leaf lettuce. And those typically are our best-selling crops. And we can also experiment with any other time because we can grow all year long, even in the wintertime, because of our greenhouse, because we control the temperature. Here is what we have our media beds. We have 3 of them, and we use what is called hydrogen, which is basically clay pellets. And the water from the Z-Deck system is pushed down into 3 equalized tanks with each other, and they have an individual pump in each of them. And on an hourly time schedule, they will turn on for one each time, and they will fill up the media bed with that nutrient-rich water, and plants that are typically top heavy that you can't put into a raft can be grown in this. And here we have kale and Swiss chard, and we also have some tomatoes we're trying out to experiment to see how well they do. And we also experiment with water spinach that does quite well in here as well. This here is what's called the Germination Table. And here is where we start out all of our plants from pellet seeds. We use rock wool, and we calculate the number of seeds that we need for each plant that we want to grow. Like here's our Rex Butterhead, which is our most popular one here. And as you can see, we take 1 pellet seed and put it into the hole. And this is soaked wet with water from the fish tanks and flows back as well, so it provides the nutrients for them. And within 24 hours, you typically have germination, as you can see from here. And you let the plants grow for around 10 days or so, and they'll turn into this. And then from here, you move them out, because they need more space to grow or else they'll bolt. You put them in what's called an NFT, or nutrient film technique system, where they can spread out a little further, for about another 10 days or so. And then when you think they get large enough, you move them out from there and into the rafts and put them down on one end, and every day you simply move another one forward like a giant conveyor belt until they go to harvest. For an aquaponics system, it's best to use a greenhouse, not only for the growing conditions that it can be all year round and the best for your plants and your fish, but also for safety. For the plants and fish, both of them have to survive or else they will destroy the other one, or the whole system will collapse. For tilapia fish, you need a temperature between 68 degrees and 88 degrees Fahrenheit. Anything lower or higher than that, and it could kill them, which in turn will kill your plants, because they don't have any nutrients available to grow off of those. For the plants, they need ample amount of sunlight, and the fish need to be in a shaded area. So the greenhouse area over the fish has a sealed roof where it doesn't let light come through directly, whereas for the plants, they have acrylic, a narrow-piece acrylic glass, to let sunlight through for them to grow off of to complete photosynthesis. Temperature regulation comes in the form of cooling with passive. We have shades on both sides to let the air in, cool air in, and a roof vent to let transpiration occur. So it'll create a draft for cool air to keep flowing through and for the plants to transpire. And when we want it to get warmer, we simply close them off, and we have natural gas heaters stationed in here to keep the temperature up to where we need it to be during the colder time of the year. For safety reasons, the side vents have a net on them to keep bugs out. And we have a chain link fence around too to keep bears and trespassers out as well. And we also have a biosecure room before you enter the greenhouse. That way it kills off any germs off of your hands with the sink and a disinfectant mat for the shoes.